So let's start by taking 5 golden thread breaths. We're going to start by breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And you can have more cushions between the knees, might have something under your bump as your bump gets bigger, just allowing the body to rest before we start with the movement. Breathing in through the nose and a long sigh out through the mouth. And then let's come on to hands and knees. You can always pad your knees with a blanket or a cushion. And we're going to do a little circle. So imagine you've got a pencil tied to your tailbone. You're circling around on the spot. Let's change direction. We're going to do about 5 the other way. It's getting all the muscles and the connective tissue gliding. Okay, and then bring your knees a little bit closer together. And we're going to sway the hips left and right. You can have a gap between the knees if that feels better. Rocking left and right, just as far as you feel comfortable to go. Let's do one more each side. And then sitting back for a moment, we're going to come into kneeling. Just letting all those muscles rest. And let's do a couple of breaths here, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Golden thread breath again. And just check in with your face. Can you let your face relax any more? The tongue soft in the mouth, lips soft, jaw releasing. And then back onto hands and knees. Have your hands a little bit further in front than they'd normally be. So we're going to have the wrists where the fingers are. And let's rock backwards and forwards. You can have your knees a bit wider if you need to around your bump as your bump gets bigger. So just going as far forwards as feels comfortable for you. And think of your belly creating a lovely hammock shape for your baby to lie in. And then bring the hands back directly underneath the shoulders. We're going to take your left leg out to the side, so it's directly to the left of the hip. And if it's comfortable, have the toes pointing forwards. You can always let the foot come out a bit if that feels better. But again, we're going to do a rock, backwards and forwards. Start small, check it out. And you can always sit further back if it feels comfortable. You should be feeling the stretch mainly to the inner thigh. And then we're going to swap to the other side. So bring that leg in, take the right leg out. So directly to the side of the right hip, toes pointing forwards if that's comfortable. And then start again with a little rock. Just check it out first, because often our hips are different from side to side. And you can always build it up, rocking a bit further back. But it should always feel comfortable. Great, and then bring that leg back in. Let's come forwards. We're going to use a chair or a ball. So you don't need anything special, you can just use a dining room chair. And we're going to lean on it with the forearms and take the left leg forwards. So you come into a lunge, and this time turn the foot out a little bit to the side. Imagine a 45-degree angle, because it's a lot easier then to circle. So we're going to do a little circle, start small. You can always make a bigger circle. let's change direction, circling back the other way. Okay, let's try on the other side, so bring that leg in. If this doesn't suit you, if you're having pelvic pain, you can always keep both knees on the floor and do a circle that way. So if there's any discomfort, keep both knees on the ground. You can always keep it a smaller circle. And let's change direction. Brilliant, and then bring that leg back in, and we're going to rest for a moment. So you can rest on the back of your hands. Let's go again to our golden thread breath, so breathing in through the nose, long breath out through the mouth, like a long sigh. So imagine with the golden thread it's going to the ground, down into the earth. Long breath, longer than usual, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. It's an opportunity just to rest for a moment. Okay, and then let's come back away from the ball or chair, and we're going to come into a downward dog. So lining up the middle fingers so they're parallel. We spread all the fingers out nice and wide, so we've got to stretch across the palm. And let's tuck the toes under. We're going to push into the hands and toes to come up. If it doesn't suit you, you can bring the knees back down and do the rocking that we did before. If you like being up there, let the head really relax, looking back between the legs, top of the head's pointing towards the floor. And you might like to alternate, so you could bend one knee, then the other knee, just pedaling on the spot. Or if you prefer, you could try coming up onto tiptoes and then letting the heels sink down. And you can come out of this at any point. Keep the breath flowing. Try not to hold the breath. Okay, let's slowly lower the knees down. Untuck the toes. We're going to sit back into a kneeling position. So while we let everything rest, let's squeeze the buttocks and then release. So you probably feel you're lifting up on the heels and then releasing. Let's do 2 more squeezes. Okay, and then hands onto the hips, going to lift up into a high kneel and then lower back down. So you can have the knees a little bit wider if that makes you feel more stable or more comfortable. You can lean a little forwards as you come up to get the momentum. Let's do that one more time, and this time we're going to stay up. So we're going to go back to squeezing the buttocks and then a little circle of the arms. So as you lift, you can squeeze and then release. Squeezing the buttocks and letting go. Let's do it one more time. Brilliant. And then we're going to come to the wall. So rather than come into a lunge, I like to bring the hands back down, tuck the toes under, and walk the hands back up onto the thighs so your pelvis is really supported. So let's face the wall. And we're going to come into a squat. So straight back, and you can either come down, walking the hands down the wall, or keep quite lifted if you're not used to squats. Heels stay off the ground, balancing on the toes, and then coming up. Lovely, let's do that again. So keeping a flat lower back, that's it, and coming up. And again, lowering down. So the pelvis, if anything, is tipping back, tail tucked under. Okay, and then we're going to do a different squat, taking the hands a bit higher and sitting back. So my knees are not very wide. If you want to bring your feet more to parallel, beautiful, yeah. So knees point forwards, tailbones lifting behind and then coming up. So this time the pelvis is tilting forwards. And let's do it one more time. A bit of a stretch to the back as well. So really think about bottom back. Lovely. And then we're going to step 1 foot forwards and 1 foot back, so we're in a little lunge. And resting the head, so you can either have forearms in a triangle or you can overlap the forearms so you can rest your forehead. And we're going to do a little circle with the pelvis. So imagine you're drawing a circle with the tailbone. Or it could be a bigger circle. You might bend your knees a little bit more. And then let's rock towards the wall, bending the front knee and then straightening. Bending the front knee, rocking hips towards the wall and then away. And then in a moment we're going to go the other way. So you're going to circle in the other direction, if you can remember which way that is. Circling around. It can be a little circle, it can be a bigger circle, but making the hips and the pelvis move. All right, let's change legs. You can always change the arm position. If your arms are tired, you could have the hands at shoulder height, arms straight, bending the front knee. We're going to do little circles again. So find what's most nourishing, smaller or bigger circles. And then rocking into the wall, bend that front knee to bring the hips in, and then straighten the leg to come out. And then as we come forwards next time, we're going to start going the other way. So for me, it's going to the left. All right, and then let's push away from the wall. I'm going to walk the hands down the wall and come into a right angle position. And have your feet as wide as you want so that you can sway your hips left and right. So you can imagine, again, that little pencil tied to the tailbone, you're drawing a semicircle left and right. Getting the weight of the baby into the hammock of the belly. It can feel really nice to get the weight off your lower back. And then we're going to start to bend one leg. So if you bend the right knee, let the hip drop out to the side, straighten that leg, and bend the left knee. And we're going to alternate, bend one knee and the other knee. Dipping the hip from side to side. And you can smooth it off so it becomes like an infinity sign or a figure 8 lying on its side. Let's do a couple more times to each side. Okay, and then walking into the wall, let's turn around and lean into the wall. So I've got my feet a step away from the wall, so I've got enough room to bend my knee. And we're going to rock the pelvis back so there's no room behind the lower back. And then let the pelvis move forward so there's that little gap behind the lumbar spine. So pushing the lower back into the wall and then letting the pelvis move forwards. So the movement's coming from the pelvis itself, rolling over the butt cheeks rather than sliding up and down the wall. Okay. And then pushing away from the wall. Let's come into another squat. So we're going to take the feet a bit wider. So this is for during pregnancy. So because our feet are at about 45 degrees, the knees are going to follow the line of the toes as we sit back. It's up to you how low you go. Obviously the lower, the harder work it is. So it's up to you. You can keep it more shallow but still bottom back. Or if you're used to doing squats, you can go a little bit deeper. Got to be comfortable. And then we'll start to use the arms as well. So we're going to reach up in front of us. Big breath in to come back. Let's do 3 more of those. And then if you've got a low stool, you can use one of those or a stack of blocks or books. And we're going to just put one foot up onto it. You can even do it with a stairs. You might stand at the bottom of your stairs and put your foot on the bottom step. And then I want you to imagine you've got a bar stool and you're trying to get up onto it. A little circle movement, so as if you're trying to get up. You've got one foot on the bar of the rung of the stool and you're trying to lift up. If you don't have anything handy, you can always just have your toe to the ground and that will still have the same effect. Brilliant. And then let's swap sides. So whatever you have, you can use. Either, if you're using a prop, whether it's stairs or block, have the foot flat and then lifting up. So the focus is on the lifted hip, circling up and back, up and back. Or if you don't have anything handy, just have the toes on the ground and you can do the same thing, keeping that leg bent. Brilliant. And then let's come to sit. So if you have got something like a stool or a pile of blocks or books, I'm going to come into a supported squat. And if this is too deep for you, just doesn't feel comfortable, you can come to something like a chair, have the knees wide. So make sure you're comfortable. But if you can, have the knees higher than the hips. And then closing the eyes if that feels comfortable. Going to take the awareness down to the pelvic floor. Think of that hammock of muscles, the openings through. We're going to gently gather and lift about halfway. So we're not lifting up to your maximum. And then we're going to focus on the release, letting go as much as you can. So gentle gathering and lift to maximum halfway, no more than that. And then release. And then not even halfway, just imagine the merest connection and then release. So like when you bring a tissue out of the box and you're just trying to do it very gently. Let's do 3 more of those, just trying to find connection with the muscles, feel them engaging and then release as much as you can. 2 more. Brilliant. And then from here, we'll come back to where we started, lying down. So this time we're going to have the cushion between the feet. So at the beginning we had them between the knees. This time knees are together and the feet are wider. And you could have many more. If you've got enough cushions, you could have 2 or 3, taking the knees wide. I'm going to rest here for a moment. And we're going to add on top of this the jiggle. So you can either do this yourself, so hand onto the hip, and just set a little motion up. So you might need to adjust your legs so you've got room for your bump, have your legs far enough away that you can move a little bit. And it's like a sort of rocking a baby. So imagine a baby's just gone to sleep, and you know if you stop moving, the baby will wake up. If you move too much, the baby will wake up. So it's just that gentle rocking to help all the muscles, the connective tissue relax. So it should feel really soothing. So you can either keep on doing that or you can come back to stillness, hand on your bump or wherever is comfortable. And just take a few breaths. It could be back to the golden thread breath or just a normal breath. Allowing all the good work that you've done to be integrated. And well done, you've done some great work preparing for the labour and the birth of your baby.